So I'm pleased to be joined with Brother Blooms, who is a hip hop artist. And, we love to chat just about artists, their musical journey. How did you get here? How did your faith play into your songs and your journey and everything that you're doing? So, just, I guess, to kick it off, how did you get your start in music? Was it something that like you always grew up and you're like, I want to do this for the rest of my life? I just love it so much. Like, what was that for you?
Honestly, music has been a part of my life probably since I guess the day I was born. Like, I guess music has always been playing on the radio. My mom used to sing to me all the time when I was a baby to put me to sleep, and it kind of just grew on me over the years. And my older brother, he was actually a songwriter, and it really intrigued me. So I was like, okay, try to see if he could teach me how to do it, but he was pretty busy with what he was doing. So I found his notebook and I just read his music and saw how he wrote his songs and how he did the structure. And I was like, oh, and it kind of just grew on me. And I just been started with poetry and then eventually it started going into music.
And how important would you say, like, between your mom singing to you and probably having your own musical influences, like you said, like just hearing music and having your brother, like how important would that be kind of shaping your journey? Because obviously you take bits and pieces from each one of those experiences, but
Yes.
like what's that like for you now, kind of carving your own path and becoming your own artist?
Oh, it's huge actually, especially now as I'm going through this gigantic transition in my life of moving with faith now instead of fear, because I was making music, but I wasn't making the music I'm making now. It was still like I would consider it. I was never so much of a negative music maker, but looking back at it, it still had negative content, and the message I was delivering definitely wasn't the message I want to deliver now and moving forward.
So
So
what is
now
that message you're trying? Yeah.
is that Yahweh is the way that worked for me, and this is how, and this is where, and if anybody needs more miracles, then they could take a look and glimpse at my life and see the huge transformation and in not that much time. It was wholeheartedly had to be God, and I'm grateful, and I just keep moving forward with that. And now I get a chance to like um, speak to people one on one, and they can come talk to me about ask me to pray for them and things like that. And it's way more uplifting and way more powerful feeling than before.
And talking about that huge transformation that you just mentioned, was that like a specific moment that you can like even just picture now? And you're like, I remember when there was this like visible switch where something just was like, okay, I need to change this and I kind of need to take a different approach.
Yes, there was. I found myself in the time of. I used to not really have good coping mechanisms, and I grew up kind of little bit moving back and forth home to home, so it was very disruptive and in and out of the childcare system as well. So I was never really had too much proper guidance. There's a big shout out to the ones that were there though, always there for me. I love them forever and always will. But I guess I was just never really shown the right ways in life. So I used negative ways to cope. And when I experienced loss, I would go through these like seasons of isolation and self sabotage, and I would end up using drugs and alcohol. And I found myself in jail, and my daughter and I were having a visit, and she put her hand up to the glass, and I put my hand up to the glass, and that one little tiny space in between our hands, it broke my heart, and I was like, I never want to have that little space in between us ever again. And so I kind of just picked back up where I left Jesus because he was always with me. I remember because my grandma always brought me to church when I was a kid. I was in Sunday school as well. So I was like, I just picked him right. I went back, found him, and held on.
Wow, that's amazing. And, even just a minute ago mentioning like you getting to pray with people now as they come up and chat with you. And I'm sure that you get to share your own story and things that you've gone through and just you briefly shared a teeny tiny synopsis. And, so getting to do that and really just focusing on your faith and trying to encourage people through your music and stuff like that. Like, how has that been for you? Like, just kind of making music for a bigger purpose instead of just maybe entertainment?
It's been it's been huge. It's life changing. It's making me wake up and think differently. It's making me feel more stronger and more responsible as well. There's a whole lot of responsibilities that I realized comes with people that want to confide in you, and then you got to just show them where you're getting your strength from. And that's, I believe, what my gift is, why I got the gift that I got from God, is so I can deliver that message to the people that might not be, they might not understand how easy it is to see that the door is right there, because of, I don't know, maybe media or what, or because of where they're living and beliefs in the community. But if now, with the music I'm making and other people like me as well, they might have a chance to hear it and understand that there's other people that went through trials and tribulations that are very similar to theirs, if not worse than theirs. I shouldn't say worse, but more impactful. Then they can see that there is a way, there is a light that they can get out of that situation and then be the one to help in their community as well.
Absolutely. Just that feeling of not being alone and isolated, right? That there's somebody that they can
Yes,
relate and connect to.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I want to kind of focus on your song Purpose that you released earlier this year. So, like going through the process of creating that song, what was that like for you? Like your writing process, was it just like, oh, I had this thought and I want to do this? Was it written for a specific reason? Like, what does that look like for you?
Sometimes, honestly, when I'm going into that mode to write a song, I I'm in my head and I pray right away and I ask God, okay, what message are we delivering today? What kind of message is it?
Mhm.
And I got the beat the instrumental, I should say, that got sent to me. The He named it Purpose, and I was like, well, that is that there it is right there, the purpose. Now what's purpose? So now I'm like, well, with the way that I've been going through this transition, it feels like I have a new purpose every day. Like I'm today I might be a person for to just be a listener. Tomorrow I might be having to be a speaker. Like I have a new purpose every day. And that's kind of where I got the idea for that song. And I'm like, oh, and then it just grew with that, and just want to let people know this is how the tribulations are, and this is how I get through them in this style with these new purposes every day in life.
Wow. And talking about that transition you just said that you're on, like how has that been for you? I know we kind of touched on that a bit, but like has it been like a recent thing? Has it been like like you said you kind of came back to going to church, and like what does that look like?
It's been a few years now. It's been a few years now. I've had a great few opportunities the past couple of years. Like I got a chance to perform at the Gold Ice Stadium, um, with Fresh IE, which was really great. And then I got nominated for Rap Song of the Year at the Gospel Music Awards last year, and I got an opportunity to go over there and perform for them as well, which was really great. So this transition, it's been a couple years in the go, and it's not a light switch that turns off but it turns off and on, but it certainly is a fun journey because you get to see how strong you are. And I always find that you see how strong you are when you're at your weakest points. And then when you're there,
Absolutely.
boom, you just keep going.
Absolutely. You can only go up from there, right?
You can only go up from there. Yeah.
And talking about, performing at the Gold Eyes, performing at the GMAs, like what has been other career highlights or maybe things that you're hopeful for in the future that could come?
I do have some goals set in mind, for things I would like to do. I'm kind of just going with the flow and letting God uh, lead the path on that, though. And I want to just do at the same time as what that's happening, I'd like to like be in communities and help out in the other communities in any way that I can. And then I have this feeling like like how God will come and speak to me, and that's how I'll be able to find all the stuff all the topics, everything to give it to the people. We'll all just be able to understand.
Perfect. And if somebody's watching or listening to this right now and they're like, I want to follow along with your journey and maybe like stay up to date if you have new music coming out, where's the best place that they can do that?
Oh, nice. Yeah. You can go. They can go onto Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube. They can search Brother Blooms and they can find that. They'll find some new music up there. I have some new music coming up right now, and a few different projects actually. So big things coming up. It's gonna be great.
There you go. Get excited and follow you on the social media and stay up to date, right?
Yes, indeed. Please follow me on all the social medias: Facebook, Instagram, um, TikTok. I'll be doing some live TikTok streams of recording some songs or even some scripture readings. If anybody wants to do some prayer time or anything like that, they can message me on Facebook. If anybody wants to like go meet for coffee to do prayer time or just on over social media, that's okay too. Just shoot me a message.
All right. Well, Brother Blooms, thank you so much for joining us today. And, look forward to seeing what the Lord does with you in the future and continuing to use your music.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm honored.